Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Out of Bounds. You can catch every weekday afternoon from 1 to 4 on 103.7 The Buzz and 103.7thebuzz.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Sonos. Sonos is the official sponsor of ESPN College Football. Go to Sonos.com to learn more. We are joined by a very special guest here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I guess it's the Christmas week edition, and it is Jourdan Black, who is a sports anchor and reporter for 4029 News when it comes to all things sports, especially the Razorbacks, and she joins us on the podcast now. So, Jourdan, appreciate you joining us. How you doing this afternoon?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. Christmas spirit is abundant on your end. I didn't know I was dressing up, so next time you have to give me a heads up. All I got is the football t-shirt.
Well, okay, that's at least better than what other people could wear too, because I'm just trying to set the good Christmas vibes, and sometimes it's kind of surprising. Like I got a Christmas sweater on and and all that thing too. So it's like you got to get in the holiday spirit. It makes everything better.
Yeah. If I could show you around, you would see all of the Christmas spirit inside my apartment, but I'll spare you so I don't make you dizzy and spin you.
That's fine, because all I got is literally a Christmas tree. That's it.
Okay. It's better than some.
I just bought it this year. I got it on Cyber Monday deal. So I was like, I'm going to commit. I'm going to finally start putting up some green and some red and do it that way. So, but it is the Christmas holiday. And even though it's this time of year, there's still a lot of things going on, obviously, with Razorback sports and whatnot. And I'm just curious, as far as, haven't had a chance to talk to you much since the season ended, but how much did you enjoy this Razorback football season? Because I feel like you're not saying you're new to Northwest Arkansas, but you definitely, when you came in, Razorback football wasn't exactly very fun to watch, but it seems like it's really turned around. And this year, at least in my opinion, was probably the best year that they've had in 10 years, at least as far as enjoyment goes.
Yeah, you're so right. I actually had this conversation with a show in Pittsburgh yesterday talking about the Hogs, and I have to always set the scene because I think this tells exactly what my perspective on Razorback football has been. I came into Arkansas football in Chad Morris's first year, but that doesn't even tell the whole story, because my first game witnessing Arkansas football was North Texas visiting Fayetteville, and the fair catch of it all. And obviously, most of your listeners know exactly what that was. But even to put it in more of a perspective, I went to UNC, and I worked in the football office when Seth Luttrell, the head coach of North Texas, was the offensive coordinator. So I'd worked around him and knew him. And so it was just like the perfect storm. And I just remember thinking, what am I experiencing? So that was the beginning of some madness that I experienced. And then obviously less than 2 years of the Chad Morris era. So then to see what Coach Pittman has done in less than 2 seasons now has been pretty tremendous. And obviously being right here in Northwest Arkansas, we see and hear from fans all the time. And it's just been such a positive turn, because we get viewer calls and emails and stuff like that. And it's been really nice to hear such a positive response. I always share this too, because you grew up and know Arkansas, but I didn't. And when I came here, I don't think I realized how much this is the one and only. Obviously, there are so many different programs within the state that deserve and get respect, but there is no other big school or professional team. And the fact that that team wasn't doing what it had done in the past, or really should do as an SEC program until now, was really kind of not right for the Southeastern Conference. So it's been a nice change, and it's been nice to experience, and then better to report on, right? We can always talk about when a team's doing bad, but isn't it a lot easier when they're doing the right thing or the better thing?
Yeah, because I've always looked at it in radio, at least, that you want the team either to be amazing or you want them to be terrible. Because if it's terrible, you got people calling in and they're irate and they're just they can't get enough of how terrible things are. But you're right, though. It's like here in the state of Arkansas, everything is better when the Razorbacks are better, especially in football. Like everyone's happier. The food tastes better. Like it's just something about it to where it makes it that much more exciting. And I think that not only that, but then you top that off with like last year in the basketball making the Elite Eight, and even the baseball season, which I know kind of ended in a disappointment because they didn't make it to Omaha. The ride, like being number one and for that long period of time and winning the SEC tournament for the first time, like all those factors made it just to where the year of 2021 is probably the best year for Razorback athletics, at least at a high level that I can remember. And so it's like you get to see kind of how the fans just change, like from just a couple years ago where it was just so depressing to now, because it is the only game in town. And it makes it unique that way where, like you said, you didn't really know much about Arkansas until you got here. But once you get here, and I tell this to people all the time when I go to like SEC media days and stuff, I'm like, y'all think you know, but you have no idea until you come here and you see that it's like, there's no other SEC schools. There's no professional teams of any sort. It's just the Razorbacks and no one else. And so from all four corners, you're going to get people that pay attention to it, that care about it, that are passionate about it. And that's what makes it so uniquely special.
It really is. And I moved here from Mississippi, where you even have this even split of Ole Miss, Mississippi State, where even your coverage is split, right? So I had to do a decent job of trying to even myself out of covering both teams as well as the other teams in the area. But having two SEC teams in a state, like you said, every other state in the SEC has professional teams or other teams in the state, whether they're in the SEC or growing up in Florida, we had, you're either Miami fan or a Florida State fan or a Florida fan. You have all these different things. There's nothing like Arkansas. And I like what you said about everything tastes better or seems better. I did an interview with Bray Cook a few weeks ago, and he said when the Razorbacks win on Saturdays, every single Sunday is better. And we've had a lot of good Sundays this year. And that stuck with me. And I thought that was so nice coming from a former Hog, and just like kind of speaks to the state of the program and the state of the state. Because I mean, don't you think just people are happier? Like you walk around and everyone's just like in a good mood. And I don't know, maybe it's a mindset thing, but everyone just kind of like, yeah, like you're just happy to see people and you have something to talk about versus being like, oh, can you believe that play they ran? Or can you believe that thing, Joe Craddock said, or the Chiefs said this week, or, I mean, and not to diss them by any means, but just the state of the program was so different. And we talked about this yesterday as well. And I think I heard on your podcast as well, maybe with Taylor McGregor, saying it's hard to dislike Sam Pittman too, because he's such a good guy. And so even when something's not going right, it's hard to talk bad about him because he's really likable. And I think that says a lot too, because even when they lose, you're not hating on them because they're doing the right thing as humans. And, sometimes in college football, there's a lot of humans in this that you don't necessarily love. And, there's something to be said about that too.
Yeah. And it's funny because first off, you don't have to worry about dissing anybody on this podcast because I do all the dissing. Like I talk about all those guys, and I am not ever going to be very professional about it, but that's fine. That's me. That's you. But anyways, but yeah, it's like, when you see somebody like Sam Pittman, who's able to come in and kind of just embrace what Arkansas is. Because again, it goes back to its uniqueness. It's unique, but it's so like from the outside perspective, like I'm sure, like what was your reaction the first time you ever heard calling of the Hogs? Like, I mean, I'm sure it was kind of like, what is this? Like, this is kind of strange. This is weird. But then once you get used to hearing it and you kind of are there and you hear, the moments that it happens in, suddenly it's no longer weird. It's like, this is kind of cool in a way because you have everybody. It's just kind of the same thing where it's like you got Sam Pittman who's embraced the fact that it is weird. Yes, you call pigs. Like it's weird.
Right.
You have your mascot is literally a pig. And it's something that not only do people love, they love so much that they'll wear it on their shirts and they'll have designs on their hats and everything surrounding Razorbacks. So it's something that like where when you have someone like Sam Pittman, not only embracing what that is, but also being successful on the field and being able to build the football program into something that people can be proud of. That to me is what made him literally the perfect guy for the job and what he's doing right now. Because everyone wants to win. And at the end of the day, that's all anybody wants to do. Like when Bobby Petrino was here, he was winning. I don't know if he just loved the Razorbacks or loved Arkansas as much as like Sam Pittman does, but he won, and that's what people care about. But when you can win at a high level and have somebody that just loves all things Arkansas, that is something that's I don't think Arkansas's had in a long time, really in any sport, at least coaches being able to win at a high level like Sam Pittman's being able to do at least right now.
And didn't you maybe know that Coach Pittman was going to be that guy at his press conference when he got emotional right off the bat?
Yeah.
Like, didn't you get this sense that he was the right fit when coaches and players from the past were petitioning to get him an interview and talk for the job when he wasn't on the short list? Like, I remember preparing video and articles of who the next coach would be, and we were talking about the Billy Napiers and who else was it? Luke Fickle and all of those
Eli
guys.
Drinkwitz, I think, was like one,
Right.
two, like yeah.
Mike Norvell again, whoever
Yeah.
it was, and it wasn't the Coach Pittmans of the world because as we've all said many a time, we weren't talking O-line coaches, but like you said, the idea of loving a team so much that you're never going to leave them, that resonates with your players, and you want to win so much, but then when you want to win but you also love what you're doing,
Yeah.
kids buy into that. 18-year-olds, they want to win, but they also want to see that you like what you're doing. You remember even being in school, and if your teacher loved what they were teaching you, I mean, didn't you want to be in their class more than when they were just writing a math equation?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same idea.
Yeah, and like the getting emotional thing is just like, man, I was over here cutting onions. I'm like, man, I don't know if this guy's gonna be good, but I want him to win. I want him to do well because it means something to him. Because you have that under Chad Morris didn't give a rip about being here. Like, he didn't even move his family here. Like, his family stayed in Texas. So it was like I just still look back on that and I'm like, how did we not know that this was going to be a disaster when the dude won't even move like his family to it? But it's like Sam Pittman, man. He like not only did he want the job, but like he was like, I think it was I forgot. It may have been his wife, I guess, Jamie. She was like saying that he was like an emotional wreck after the interview, just like so like torn down and like nervous and everything about it. So I guess that's the good thing to know, that I don't know if Sam Pittman's gonna, ever win a national championship or anything in Arkansas, but that no matter what happens, no matter how good you get and how good you are, he ain't leaving you. And I think that that's something you can at least take some solace in too.
Yeah, I think that's kind of comforting too for from a recruiting standpoint, when the whole college landscape is all about that now too, because that's where the winning starts. And if you're an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old and then his parents committing to a guy, you want to know that he's staying for a long time. I even think about it from an adult and a job perspective. When I'm going somewhere, I want to know that my boss isn't going to leave as soon as I come in.
Yeah.
So it's the same idea that he's going to be there for a minute, and for him, he's going to be there, as long as they'll have him.
That's right. By the way, folks, just want to remind everybody that we're brought to you by NetSuite. Just think about this. This is it. This is the putt to win the tournament. If you sink it, the championship is yours, but on your backswing, your hat falls over your eyes. Is this how you're running your business? Poor visibility because you're still relying on spreadsheets and outdated finance software. To see the full picture, you need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. It's the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth with visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more. NetSuite is everything you need to grow, all in one place. 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control after upgrading to NetSuite. And over 28,000 businesses already use NetSuite. So for the new year, NetSuite has a new financing program for those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/locked. Head to netsuite.com/locked for this special one-of-a-kind financing offer and the #1 financial system for growing business. Again, at netsuite.com/locked. Jourdan Black of 4029 Sports Anchor is here on our Locked On Razorbacks podcast. And, Jourdan, the thing is we were talking a lot about Sam Pittman and the job he's done and the things that have really come to fruition with him. And now we kind of turn towards the bowl game. And it's so funny to me how there are certain people that really get amped up and hyped up for bowl games, like teams. And then there's ones that you could kind of tell don't really care. Maybe it's a disappointment that they ended up going to the bowl game that they're at. And I was thinking, like, just listening to Sam Pittman, and I think it was even yesterday when he was meeting with the media saying that all he wants for Christmas is a bowl win. Yeah. Like, I guess that's awesome, because it kind of shows that he's trying to instill into his team and into the culture of the program. It's like, hey, we want to win this. Like, yeah, it's great. We got there. It's fun. We get to go to Tampa, but there's still a game to be played, and we still got to go out there and we still got to beat Penn State.
That's such a good point, because we were talking yesterday. So I was talking to this radio station in Pittsburgh, just to kind of, they cover Penn State, but they don't know a lot about Arkansas. So I was giving them a little bit of perspective about Arkansas, and kind of explaining what it means to these guys up there, what going to a bowl game is about. And they were explaining that it's a little bit of a disappointment for Penn State to go to the Outback Bowl. One, because they had a 7-5 season. The expectations are way higher in Happy Valley. Like, a 7-5 year is down. And talking about how an 8-4 year on the Hill is, a good year. Obviously, you want to go up from there, but to go to the Outback Bowl is a big deal. And I think he's tried to instill that fact. But for Penn State, they're kind of like, okay, we have one more game to play. We've had a month off. Like, I really got that sense. And I've been listening to, they had a media day last week. I get the sense that Penn State is like, okay, we have another game to play. We've played an SEC West team. We have another one. Like, Arkansas is a good team. Let's go play them. And I don't get the sense that they have that same mindset of, this is a big deal, this is a big bowl. And I think that's twofold. I think one part of it is that bowl games are becoming less meaningful because of the college football playoff. And James Franklin spoke to that, saying, if you expand the playoff, that, some of these bowl games, maybe including the Outback Bowl, can become part of the playoff. But I think the second part is that when you have a program like Penn State, where expectations are higher, going to a bowl like the Outback isn't as big a deal as, say, in Arkansas, where you're going to your first bowl in 5 seasons.
Yeah, that's the thing that, like, I kept thinking about Penn State. I'm like, there is no way that they're motivated and want, like, this is what they wanted. Like, they were like a top 5 team at one point, and like they went 7-5. But I think I saw, in like looking at their schedule, it's like they lost to Michigan State by 3. They lost to Ohio State by 9. They lost to Michigan in a close game, Iowa in a close game. Like, so
Indiana and OT.
Yeah. And then, like, that stupid 9 overtime game, like, to Brett Bielema, disgusting. But still,
Illinois. Was that?
So it was like so strange to kind of see, like, man, they went 7-5, and I hate this cliche, but it's like, oh, they're the best 7-5 team there is out there, because I mean, they might be. So I just think that the motivation's there for Arkansas, and that's why I'm still going to pick them to win too. And the fact that it's like going to a bowl, like, my favorite thing about it is you're going to a bowl game that you've never been to before. You've never been to the Outback Bowl, and you're playing a team you've never played before. And it's a team that is pretty iconic and everybody knows about. So to me, like, it's the best of all worlds, where obviously you'd like to go to a better bowl game. You always want to go to the best, but as far as Arkansas going 8-4 and playing Penn State in the Outback Bowl in Tampa, where I think it's fairly warm, a lot warmer than it is here, I'm all for it. And I think that that's, like, honestly, probably the best case scenario you could have had for Arkansas this year.
Yeah, I think at least if you asked me before the season, I wouldn't have had them winning 8 games. And it wasn't like me thinking, oh, this team is not as bad. It's just the SEC West is so hard. We hadn't seen KJ run an offense. We hadn't seen, this depth of running back. We didn't know, what this D line was going to do. And I mean, we didn't see a lot of things. So I didn't think they were going to win 8 games. I'll be honest. I think in our preseason show, I said maybe 6. I mean,
man.
I know. And I like to consider myself an optimist. So I think the Outback Bowl is a huge accomplishment. I really do. And but for Penn State, so I actually think that's a huge, like, motivator for Arkansas, because they're going in with, all of the want to, and Penn State, I think, is just like, okay, one more game before we really go into the off season. And then like their defense right now is kind of like in this limbo situation. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, but even the guys from Pennsylvania yesterday, I think were picking the Hogs. So
I've been telling everybody about Prize Picks, and if you still haven't signed up, what are you waiting for? In addition to college football action, Prize Picks makes college basketball a lot more exciting as well. It's the leader in college sports daily fantasy, and they offer more college football and basketball props than anyone else in the world. And all of you that sign up today by using the app or going to their website, if you use promo code Locked On, you'll get 100% instant deposit match up to $100. You can use the award-winning app on both the App Store or Google Play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Prize Picks is safe and offers fast withdrawals, so don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com, use promo code Locked On, or go to the App Store and download the app today. Again, prizepicks.com or download the app, use promo code Locked On for Prize Picks. It's the daily fantasy made easy. Okay, so Jourdan, I saw that like you were like tweeting things about Florida. So are you a Florida person? Like you know a lot about Florida?
Well,
like,
I'm from there.
Okay,
so
so where are you
Yes.
from in Florida?
Fort Lauderdale. And my
Oh,
parents
okay.
are born and raised in Fort Lauderdale too, which is rare. Because
Interesting.
most people retire. So I'm from Fort Lauderdale. I'll actually be there next week, and then I'm going to fly from Fort Lauderdale to Tampa for the bowl game.
Oh, must be nice. So yeah, because I've actually gone to Hollywood a bit.
Yep.
Like that was where
that's like right down the road.
Yeah, I always liked Fort Lauderdale. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people would go down to South Beach and Miami, which is cool too. But I don't know, Lauderdale was just kind of like if you wanted more of a just fun, relaxing vacation, that's kind of the place to go at
A
least.
little bit quieter.
Yeah, slightly.
But yeah, I'm not against Miami.
Yeah.
I was actually like in Fort Lauderdale when the bowl was announced for a friend's bachelorette, and we just did it at home, and so it was funny like watching everything from there and trying to work from down there. But love South Florida. I'm happy that it's going to be on the other coast of Florida, but I haven't been to Tampa in a long time. My mom went to college at USF, but yeah, I haven't been to Tampa. Well, maybe in a few years, but it's a nice area. I'm excited to go see them play in an NFL stadium. I think that's super cool. I think that's a better, so like of all the places they could have played in Florida, like I've been to the Citrus Bowl and I think that stadium's like fine. My high school would always go to like the state championships there, but I think this is a better gig like for a team to play at. Or if they ended up in the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, like that would have been cool too. But I think Tampa's a good get.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about like, I remember Arkansas went to the Texas Bowl in like 2014 and they went 6-6. So they weren't a great team, but it was like, you got to play at NRG Stadium in Houston. So it was like, part of it was cool. And then nothing against the fine folks over there in Memphis, but the Liberty Bowl sucks. Like I hate the Liberty Bowl. And maybe it's just because Arkansas's played in it a few times, but it's just like the stadium's not great. It's not really like a place that you can get away from Arkansas on like a vacation too, because it's like it's just in Memphis. But I was going to be really bummed if Arkansas went 7-5 and they're going to end up in the Liberty Bowl or something like that. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like Tampa's the best part of it because Tampa's a cool city. It's warm. It's in Florida. It's in an NFL stadium too. Maybe we'll get to meet Tom Brady. You know, you never know.
He might just be walking around, you know?
Yeah, he's just
throwing tablets.
He may come visit the press box to watch the Razorbacks in Penn State. Totally. So, you know, like like that part of it's so cool. And like I've actually been to Tampa a lot. And my brother he went to college there, and my older brother did. And so like I spent a couple spring breaks there. And I like it. Like it's really cool. And I think Ybor City's kind of the place to.
Everyone was saying like Hog fans in Ybor City, like on New Year's Eve, just chaos.
Oh man, yeah, just calling the Hogs at the dance clubs, like just hearing Woo Pig everywhere is probably quite a culture shock for them. But no, I think that it's like Tampa's cool, and like I was just checking the weather, and I know we still got a ways away, so things can change, but like it's looked pretty good. It's like in the 80s. And sunny. So
I know Tara you guys heard from Tara a couple weeks ago, but she was just asking me like, what do we wear? And I was like, it's not gonna be cold. Like you don't have to worry about like packing, you know, like layers and stuff. It's not one of those places where you're worried about, are you going to be cold this time of day? Like, listen, The weather all year it maybe gets to 60s at night, but like not even this time of year.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be like living pretty for a couple days. So I think, like I said, it's we got a good gig going down there, and right on the beach too, like Clearwater Beach. They have like that beach day. So I think it's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm
I
like,
mean, not that we have to work or anything when we go, but
yeah, I know. It's just
there's
like
that part.
it's truly just going to be a vacation. Well, it's like I got to do my radio show, I guess, but
Yeah.
it's like I plan on wearing nothing but swim trunks because
Okay.
you never know, like
You never know.
when you're gonna have to make a trip to the beach or something like
Right.
that. So
Straight from the press box. Which, speaking of the press box, do you think that they're gonna serve us Outback?
I have a feeling they will. Yeah, I
Okay,
think
good.
that'll probably be on the menu. I heard somebody tell me, I think it was Brandon Marcello, who covers college football for 24/7
Yeah.
Sports, and he told me that when he went and covered the Outback Bowl, like in the press box, they have like blooming onions everywhere. Like,
Yes.
and I'm like, great. I like, because which I love blooming onions, don't get me wrong. And I do love Outback Steakhouse, of course, the fine folks over there that do such a great job with their delicious steaks. But it's like, I heard that, I was like, man. So I was just like looking up on the menu too. And not that I'm a healthy person by any means, but when I saw the amount of calories that are in a blooming onion, I'm like, no wonder it's so good. Like, I
We'll
think that
split
one of
one.
them, it's like 4,000 calories in one blooming onion. It's like something ridiculous like that.
We'll
but
just
it's
like
so
pass
good.
it down press row. Like everyone take one bite.
Yes. Yeah. Just everyone take
Just,
a little, take an little onion peel and call it good, because it's gonna, but like that's awesome though. Like I'm all for that. I'd rather have, because I've been to, I'm trying to think of how many bowl games I've been to. I think I've been to three or
wow.
four, and each one of them have had kind of like their own unique experiences, but there have certainly been certain ones that have been much better than others when it comes to the treatment of the media. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to be curious, because I've never been to the Outback Bowl. So, because I've seen the itinerary that they do and all of that. So I'm wondering, like, how will the experience get? Because I'm trying to remember, I think it was the Texas Bowl. Like they had like a night out where all the media got to eat and drink for free at a local sports bar, and they like gave us these gifts for raffles and stuff. Like,
Really?
yeah, it was like pretty cool.
It looks like they're taking care of us in the Outback Bowl too, with like a hospitality room and all of that. They always take care of the players, but it was funny. My dad, sometimes thinks he's a media member as well, and he's not. He's an attorney, but he's actually. So we are huge Gator fans and grew up that way. And but when I don't know if I should admit this, but when I was home after this Bachelorette, and I went home, and Sam Pittman had that press conference after the bowl game, and my dad wanted to listen in. It was so cute, and I gave him one of my AirPods, and he really thought like he was a media member, and he loves keeping up with college sports, but mostly the Gators. But he was listening, and anyway, so he loves keeping up with the Razorbacks now that I cover them. And so he sends me this email last week, and I'll actually pull it up because I think and the subject says players gift bag, nice. That's the subject. And it says Outback Bowl, January 1 noon, ESPN 2. Arkansas versus Penn State, and it says what the players are going to get. So this is evidently what they get, which I used to think they got more. $150 Amazon gift card, a Fossil watch, Johnston's ring, Johnston's $25 Outback Steakhouse gift card, which that seems like not that much.
Yeah.
And then a hat. This is according to ESPN though.
Huh.
So if anyone can see that, which I probably should cover some, but sent that from
don't give out your contact info.
Isn't that funny though?
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of surprised by that, because I think it was the Fiesta Bowl when they would give out like PlayStation 5s and like stuff to kids, and so I was like, yeah, they'd probably rather have that than
like when I was at Carolina, I think they went to the Belk Bowl one year. I was there, and also like the Russell Athletic Bowl, and they got like TVs, watches, PlayStations. But I remember one day like all these TVs got delivered back to the football office. So we just had a bunch of TVs to give out. I didn't get one.
Did you get one? I was about to say, how come you didn't get one then? If you had all these, that
is an NCAA violation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I
can't
know.
can't have those these
No
days.
gifts for the student office assistants because
No.
Tennessee ruined it for everyone when they had
Yeah,
escorts.
seriously. Like, yeah, I was like, man,
Yeah.
I would have said, I'm gonna no, what you should have done is you should have paid $1 for the TV.
Yes.
So that way it's not a gift, you paid for it.
Yep.
So
Now
yeah,
probably it doesn't even matter with
yeah,
NIL, but
it's a free
yeah,
free
that's
for all.
true. That's true. Yeah, we only could get like one gift a year, and it would be like clothing from the school.
Oh, well, guess it's
Yeah,
better than nothing. Well, which by the way, you brought up something I'm curious. So hold on. You're from Fort
I have a lot
Lauderdale.
of. Yeah.
You grew up Florida Gator fans,
Mm-hmm.
but you went to North Carolina.
Yes.
So how did that happen?
I just wanted to go to UNC, and I still would say I'm a Gator fan, which probably doesn't sit well here. I always would root for Arkansas to do well, as an
Of course.
unbiased journalist, of course. But yeah, I grew up a huge Gator fan. My dad went there for law school, so that kind of gave us our fandom, and our fandom is intense. And then, but I wanted to go out of state for college and was afforded that opportunity. And I just loved Carolina, like change of seasons. Growing up, we are talking about Florida has one season. I
Mhm.
wanted to go to a place that had different seasons and a good journalism school. And UNC was that place. And then a place I asked my dad when I was little, I remember I was always interested in sports. And I said, what school has good academics and good sports? And he said, Duke. And when I was little, I wanted to go to Duke.
Oh,
And I never applied to Duke, and gosh, I would never have gone in. But we visited Duke, UNC, and UVA sometime in high school, and I didn't like Duke, but it was funny because I was like, when I went to UNC, I would never admit that story because we hate Duke.
yeah.
But when I was little, I wanted to go there, and then ended up right down the road. But another equally good basketball school.
Yes. Yeah. I think North Carolina's been fairly good in the sport
Yeah,
of basketball. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm kind of jealous because I've like on my bucket list is always to go to a Duke North Carolina basketball game.
so
So
good. You
yeah,
have to get there. You have
yeah,
to. I've never been at Cameron. I've been to Cameron, but not to a game there. But so cool.
yeah. Well, I just like seeing the stories of like kids camping out for like a whole
Hmm.
week and all of that. Like it's just I don't know. That's
Yeah,
very appealing to me. So okay, well that makes sense because
yeah,
I was like because when you say you grew up a Gator fan, I was like, so why'd you go to North Carolina? But
yeah,
I something I have to realize is that not everyone is like me. Where I grow up a Razorback fan, therefore I have to go to Arkansas. Like it's not that way. People can still
yeah.
be fans of other places and go to different schools and be good with it. So it's like I have to understand that, I guess. But
I know. I
yeah,
guess I have a lot of loyalties now, and it is confusing, especially around here. Like every time I tell people, like, and then whenever I talk to people, like they're always like, "So you going home to North Carolina?" So I confuse people all the time. But I am from Florida, and that's home base. But yeah, big Carolina alum, and like always will root for them. But I grew up like loving Florida, and so that's where I like started liking sports and stuff.
yeah, well, that's a good place to go for sure. So
Yeah,
other than the fact that every time my team has played your team in the NCAA tournament, it seems like for some reason you guys always win.
yeah.
But
Coach Z will always bring that up. Like 2016, Carolina beat Arkansas, and then Carolina went on to the national championship. And if
yep,
Arkansas would have won, they never would have went to the championship. But Carolina lost in the championship that year, anyways. My senior year of college, like on a buzzer beater of all things. Like think of something more crushing. Think of a more crushing scenario. You're a senior in college. Your team's in the national championship, and they lose on a buzzer beater to the step sibling or half sibling, like the half sibling scores the winning shot
yeah,
of the of another kid on the team. Like I
mhm.
just can't think of something more crushing, but he'll always bring that up to me.
Yeah, yeah. A pop-up foul ball to win the College World Series.
Okay.
Um,
Touche.
yeah, it was that was pretty crushing, to say the least. So it's like
Those
we
are
all have our
tied.
things.
Those are tied. Yeah.
Yes, we
Yeah.
all have our stuff that we have. So,
Yeah.
but that's what that's what makes us fans, I guess. Even though still not over it and still get depressed just thinking about it all the
I
time.
didn't think we were allowed to talk about that one. So you said it, not me.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the best, like, time heals all wounds, but so does talking about it, Isn't that what they say
Yeah.
in like therapy and stuff? It's like you
Yes.
got to talk about your problems and always, remember where you came from to know where you're going. And all those other cliches too. So, but yeah, we try to avoid that either way. Jourdan, really appreciate you joining us here on
Thank
the
you for having
podcast.
me.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And since I guess you're going to be in Tampa too. What day are you getting into Tampa?
I get in late on the 30th. So
that's
I don't have a ton of
Thursday?
time, but
Yeah, it's Thursday, I believe, right?
yeah. What about
Okay.
you?
Yeah, I'm getting in Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm flying out at 5:30 in the morning. And so I'd rather die than have to do that.
Yeah.
But it's okay because it's for the Razorbacks, for the bowl game. But so yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be flying
It's
down
not
for
that easy from Arkansas, I know.
No.
I know it's been expensive for a lot
No.
of people to get there.
Yeah, it's like I gotta fly. I guess I'm flying from Little Rock to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta down to Tampa. So but yeah, so it'll be fun though. It'll be fun. And I know we'll probably see you down there. And
Yes.
if you need to find me, you'll know where I be on the beach at Clearwater. So
With a blooming onion in hand.
yeah. I'm sure that'll get me a lot of I'm sure that'll get me a lot of the girls to come over to talk to me. Being that creepy guy when like on the beach eating a blooming onion sitting there. So yeah, I'm sure I'll get all the attention. But either way, it's good to talk to you. Enjoy your trip down to the Outback Bowl, and hopefully we'll be catching up with you soon.
See ya. Thank you.